Thank you for downloading this Brum Radio podcast. For more podcasts, visit brumradio.com.
Welcome to Turn the Tables, a podcast exploring female DJs and their experiences. We'll be taking a deep dive into people's personal musical journeys and what it's like for women in the music industry. With your hosts, me, Emma.
And me, Daniel.
We hope you enjoy. Okay, well, welcome back to Turn the Tables, and we are very excited on today's episode to have the lady selector joining us, which is Janet. Janet plays a blend of 60s rocksteady reggae, ska, dancehall music, and has been collecting a range of musical genres since the late 60s. But true to her Handsworth roots, reggae is her first love. Janet began her DJ career in 2013 by accident when she was invited to play a reggae set in Cornwall at a friend's wedding. She was billed as a surprise special guest and it was a great success. Janet has continued to play out at community events, gatherings and parties, and we are thrilled to have her on the episode today. Now, I first came across Janet at the Pink Moon Camping Retreat, which was put on by the Lunar Festival guys, and that was last summer. And it was just at the time when I was thinking about starting to DJ. So I just turned 40 and was exploring it as a potential. And I was chatting to a good friend of mine who happens to be a good friend of Janet's, called John. And I was saying, look, is this silly, me thinking about starting to learn how to DJ when I've just turned 40? And he was like, absolutely not. And he said, you must meet Janet, because Janet started in her late 50s. Anyway, so he was telling me about this and I was like, oh, that's absolutely wicked. I'd love to meet Janet. And then guess who happened to be at Pink Moon Camping Retreat but Janet. And I remember we met by the fire and started chatting, and you started telling me about your DJing. So Janet, you have formed a part of my journey. So just want to know more about yours. So do tell us, Janet, how did the DJ journey start for you?
I think many, many years ago, really when I was maybe about 12, 13, a friend of mine and I, we used to, we had a reel-to-reel tape recorder, and we used to collect things off Radio Luxembourg, mainly. And we would actually play at being DJs with this very old tape recorder and microphone. And I think there is some of that stuff somewhere. I've been hunting for it because it'd be quite interesting after all these years. But I never thought, then women didn't do things like that anyway. It wasn't the girl's way forward, was it? And not something I thought about for years, but I've always... music has always been the centre of my world, and I've always bought, stole, borrowed as much as I possibly can, and I've got a massive collection of stuff in just about every genre. So I've always been called upon by friends to do playlists and mixtapes, and we're having a party, could you put some stuff together, whatever it might be. So that was kind of a role that I'd done for years and years, but not really kind of thought about it, And so when the wedding thing came along, and my friend said, you know your reggae really well, we want you to do this. And she really played it up to everything. And I must admit, I just took it as a bit of, I just thought I was going to be in the corner, with an iPhone. And actually it was much more than that. I was in a balcony. And when I looked up there and I saw the kids, it was like, this is really scary. But no, as soon as I started playing, the buzz that I got, it was just amazing. And I thought, I want to do this. It took about 5-10 minutes for me to think, I really want to do this. And it was fantastic. And just to see all those happy people. And afterwards, people thanking me and congratulating me. And it was like, well, this is the way forward. So, yeah, that's kind of where it came from. And then on, it was kind of word of mouth for various people. It was like, we want someone to play some reggae. Janet knows her reggae. Yeah, so that's sort of where it's gone.
Oh, I've got such a lovely image of you up on the balcony. I mean, what a starting gig up there.
Yeah, it was definitely a big wow.
Excellent. Yeah. Wow.
I've got such a great image of you with a reel-to-reel tape recorder. Yeah, and putting stuff together like that. What a skill.
Oh, Dan will get into the tech stuff, Janet, don't you worry. Well, I mean, I was going to say, tell us about your first and worst gig, but that is your first, isn't it?
Yeah,
the wedding one.
Yeah. I've not really had what I would say was a worst gig. But I think if there was a kind of problem that I've ever found, a couple of times I've done parties and some of the people have not wanted me to play reggae, so they've come along and go, oh, can you play this? Can you play that? Have you got any of this? And it's an absolute no. I just don't want that. That's what I'm built as. That's what I do. And I don't want to do it. And so that's kind of caused a few issues. Nothing major, but, you kind of see little groups of girls going off in the corner going, ooh, don't like her. That sort of thing. Which is fine, and I'm sure this happens to all DJs anyway. But that's kind of been my worst problems, really. Nothing more than that. I've been fortunate.
That's good, be touching that word. Yeah. But I think it's great to really stay true to your style and your taste and go, this is who I am, this is what I play, because you're being authentic then to your genre. And yeah, I know I have a mate who DJs, and somebody came up to him once and asked if he'd put some David Guetta on. That was his least favourite request.
Do you have equipment yourself which you use? Or is it just when you're out?
Very little. Well, I have got quite a few decks and things at home, but I don't take them anywhere. I don't use the decks because I don't have enough vinyl. And all that carrying and hassle, and I quite like the idea of keeping it simple. So I have a mixer, a laptop and an iPad. And I do keep it down simple.
And that is what you take out, do you think?
Yeah. And I just have to hope they've got an amp and various things I can plug into when I get there. And so far, that has been the case. And I'm probably not going to do something if I haven't got that stuff. I'm not going to bother to hire or borrow, I just want to be able to walk in carrying what I've got. I just kind of like that idea.
I mean, it's so convenient, isn't it? Rather than the old heavy record bags of old.
Yeah. I've got no wish to carry big record boxes around and stuff, yeah.
So is it iPad into the mixer and then play tune and play next tune as you go through? Okay.
Pretty well, yeah. I compile playlists with the intention, and I spend ages getting them all running together and all the rest of it, and then I get there and I don't want to do it that way because there's something about the audience that makes you change it, and then I make my life far more difficult, like hunting for things. I've got to play this, where is it?
So in fact, I was going to ask as well, you sort of highlighted a little bit there of how you prepare. So when you've got a gig or a booking, what is the setup before you even arrive for you?
Really just going through the mix of stuff. Although often I add things to playlists randomly. Something might pop in my head and I think, I need that in a set. Or I might hear something on the radio or whatever, and I kind of, I need that. So I've got kind of a big pot of tunes that I'm likely to use when I play out. And I might, just sit for an hour or so and do a bit of mixing, a tiny bit. I don't mix much, I just do a little bit. I did try and do more complicated stuff, and again I thought, no, it's fine. There's a few whistles and horns that I pop in now and again in true reggae style. But yeah, I am very much into keeping it simple. I don't want it to be complicated. I just want it to be fun. And I drown myself in technology in a lot of the rest of my life, so I want to keep it, straightforward.
That so far is my favourite takeaway, but we'll see as we go through. But yeah, keeping it simple, and it is to have fun, isn't it? That's the function.
And it is that traditional reggae way as well. That sort of one turntable, double arm onto next tune.
So we've already heard reggae, obviously, is a big one of the genres. Are there any other genres that you play?
No, I did do one birthday party where I did, and it was the 50th. It was just a few years ago. So it was very much a kind of 80s, 90s mix because that was that sort of audience. And I put that together okay. And actually, people love that as well. But I'm not, I do it for a special friend. That's probably as far as it would go. I don't want to... Again, it's complicating it. It's many more things in the mix, isn't it? And, I'm not interested.
Yeah.
Stay to what I do.
Nice. So, Janet, who are your influences then in the reggae world?
I think I've deliberately gone to see loads of reggae DJs to try and... But I still go back to DJ Derek, who I loved and watched for many years at Glastonbury and various similar places. And got to a point where I would talk to him. I was talking to him at most of the gigs he would go to. And about a year before he died, I kind of ran this idea through him, and he said he was very much do it. And, Derek kept things simple, didn't he?
Yeah.
He didn't carry loads of stuff. He had his little bag with his discs, and he went on the coach, and I love that. I love the fact that he could just turn up and, he was what he was. He didn't pretend to be anything else. So, yeah, he was definitely my, I aspired to kind of be like Derek. And there is nothing I would love more than to, stand on a big stage at Glastonbury and do what he did. I think that's my aspiration.
Great.
Yeah.
I was hoping you'd mention DJ Derek. My brother used to put nights on in Birmingham, custom made, and he booked Derek quite a few times. So I remember the first time I saw him and I was just so blown away. I was like, wow, this guy is just an absolute legend. So yeah, I've seen him quite a few times. So can fully understand why he is a big influence for you. And let's make Glastonbury happen.
Yeah.
I want to do drum and bounce there too, so maybe we could have that as our dual goal.
Team up.
Yes. So our best and guest section. So I want to hear about your best moment DJing or your best gig experience, and also if you could go back to back with anyone, who that would be.
So I think my best experience is when I started playing at the Bearwood Shuffle, which is a small event that myself and a few other people put on in Bearwood in Lightwoods Park Bandstand. And after I'd done a few bits, they said, you should play. And that was nerve-wracking because I was playing in my own community with absolutely loads of people I know. I mean, I know everyone in Bearwood virtually these days, so it was very, very scary. And it was amazing. It felt really good afterwards. And there was loads of feedback about the DJ and the music that I played. And so that for me was definitely the highlight. That was where I could turn a corner and think, I can do an outdoor event. Because outdoor events, I think, seem a little bit more scary than an indoor, don't they?
Why is that, do you think?
Bigger. I think it's because it's so much bigger. And I'm working with that same sound person that's working with the bands, and it's a switch on and off between bands, because it wasn't just I was doing all the in-betweens between the bands playing, and that would scare me. It's like, I mustn't run over the band and I must start early. It's all those things that I had to learn about, and I got through it, and so that was quite a biggie for me.
Yeah, the changeover moment. I know Dan and I were out at the weekend at a little rave, and just watching one big DJ change over to the other big DJ, and it's like, what if that memory stick, what if they press the wrong button? And obviously they're very skilled at it, but those little moments, those transitions, I'm like, whoa, when everyone's there, everyone's already filled the dance floor, just waiting for that next tune. That must be quite a nerve-wracking moment.
Yeah, I think it is. It's those kind of things that frighten me. But then I go back to like DJ Derek, who would make mistakes, and he didn't care, and neither did the audience. So, we can't worry about it. It's just do the best you can.
Yeah, that is something else I've noticed recently, because now I'm learning to DJ, I'm so much more tuned in when I'm out to what's happening. I'm just watching everything, and And I notice when, you know, the mixes aren't great, and it doesn't matter. And particularly when you see like really good DJs and go, oh, see, you don't always mix perfectly. Because I think that's something as a beginner you can get really stressed about and go, I can't go out DJing until I can mix perfectly. And it's like, no, you can actually, because how else are you going to learn apart from getting out there and, you know, and it's okay to make mistakes. And actually the crowd are generally way more into your tune selection. And obviously you want to be able to mix. That's like the skill, isn't it? But people are quite generous and forgiving, I think, aren't they?
Yeah, I think generally it is the music that people are interested in, and I think for the DJ, I think it's where you want to go with it, isn't it? I mean, I'm doing it. I'm not making a big career deal out of it. I'm doing it more for fun. Yeah, I want to get on. I do want to be kind of known more and all the rest of it, but I don't want to be this perfect. I've got no aspiration to be a perfect sort of mixing person and release albums and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, I think it is about where you want to go.
Yeah, and just cultivating positive experiences for people and, you know, giving them great tunes to enjoy dancing to. Definitely. So, Janet, you're a female in the industry. It'd be great to know what your experience has been and whether there's been any barriers or benefits from your point of view.
Not really. I think I've been quite fortunate, but again, I think it's the environments that I've played in. I've generally played in very supportive environments. You know, it's been for friends. Even community events has generally been a community that I know, so I know people. So I've never really felt that, but I think I've just been in a bit of a safety net, and I'm pretty sure it's out there. And I think if I do what I'm intending to do and get myself out a lot more, I think both my age and being a female could. I hope not, but you know, I kind of get a sense that it might be an issue.
Yeah. Do you come across many female reggae DJs?
I've not found many. There's a collective, they've split up now, based in Brixton in London, the Sisters of Reggae. And I went and saw them a few times. I found that really interesting that they'd come together. But no, there aren't. I mean, I'm sure they're out there, but I'm not finding anyone in Birmingham. Okay. So, you know, if you know anybody, I'd really love to talk to them.
Get in touch, people. Yeah. Get in touch. It's nice to have collectives, isn't it? Definitely. So what's next then for you, Janet, in your journey?
I think I want to kind of expand into, I'd really like to play festivals. I mean, Glastonbury's a long way away, but smaller festivals is the way I want to go, rather than working inside. As you know, because you see me at the festivals are kind of the centre of everything I do anyway. So I'd really love to. So that's what I'm exploring now, how to move forward that way, rather than the smaller things. Yeah. Ambitious, I know, but hey.
That's the way to go, though, isn't it? So you've obviously mentioned Glastonbury. What other festivals do you think you'd be interested in?
I don't know. I think any of the sort of middle of the road ones, things like Green Man maybe, or Beautiful Days. Those kind of general, you know, slightly older people, but not specific with what music they play. So yeah, that's. But maybe I should be looking smaller at kind of one-day events initially. But yeah.
Have you been a festival goer for a long time, Janet?
My whole life, really, since I was I tried to run off to the Isle of Wight when I was about 14, but my mother wouldn't let me. And I've done, 20-odd Glastonburys, near on 30 probably.
Wow, I want to know more about these. What were the early days Glastonbury like? Can you remember when you went to your first one?
Yeah, right, 1985. 2 stages. Fabulous. I mean, it was life-changing for me at the time. Just so lovely and simple. And very wet, actually. It was really wet, yeah. But I mean, that's normal, isn't it?
Who was playing? I was 5 at the time. How old were you, Daniel?
I wasn't here yet.
You were minus a few
Yeah,
years.
You were
yeah, minus a
minus,
few years.
yeah. Who do I remember? Hard to remember different Glastonburys, but I am pretty sure there was Elvis Costello. I definitely remember going to see Billy Bragg. Misty and Roots sticks out for me, obviously, reggae. Hard to, it is, they all roll, especially the 80s ones, they're all rolling together. And I had a little daughter with me at the time. I kind of brought my daughter up in going to festivals, and she hated them when she was small. You know, it's like, why are we walking around all the time? But yeah, I've been a massive influence with her and other friends and younger people. I just think they're wonderful places.
Aren't they? Can I ask, what was it for you that felt so life-changing at those festivals?
Finding like-minded people. I think for a lot of years, I wasn't around people like me, if that makes any sense. So I think it is about kind of not, kind of meeting people that think the same as you and have the same passions as you. But more than anything, I think that was definitely, and being able to listen to the music so simply, having a whole weekend of music instead of. Back in the 70s, a lot of festivals were just one-day events. There were very few where you would camp and stay over, and that's a pain.
What, the camping or the one-day thing?
No, the one-day thing. You've got a long way to go. Invariably, you go on the other end of the country with loads of stuff, and then you've got to get back, and all that. And so to actually have such an amazing lineup in such a simple environment that was uncomplicated with no rules. There were no rules then. It was easy. Too many rules now, unfortunately, but that's the way of things.
Stop all the rules.
Yeah.
I do have one more question about festivals, because I love festivals too, and I totally get what you're saying. It's just such a special experience, that shared experience with people who are all there for the same reason, and it's really captivating. I was just wondering, in your experience, what changes you've noticed in festivals over the years?
They have to make money. They're no longer free. I caught the end of the free festivals, which is chaotic, I know, but wonderful as well. And I understand why it had to change. But I think it is things like the queuing, the getting of tickets. But the whole amount of bands and the whole range of music and the extra stages kind of outweigh that. So you've got both. And I think, what is really nice is that almost everybody's been to a festival now, whereas back then people looked at me as if there was something wrong with me. I'd say, I'm going to Glastonbury. It was like, really? Are you a hippie or something? It was a very odd reaction. Whereas now you're going to Glastonbury, it's, why you got a ticket? It's that. So I think the whole thing of festivals, but I think they've lost their essence. They have lost an essence of simplicity, I think. You can't take your own booze in, and, just simply, you're constantly being searched and tested and things. And that kind of conflicts with what they were meant to be.
Yeah. But every so often I feel like you find a festival that has that essence again, and it's, very exciting.
Yeah. And I keep looking for those. And if only I had the whole year to just keep going to them.
I know, I know. We'll make one.
Yes.
I'm totally with you of that, finding your people, I suppose, the people that you wouldn't see on the street just generally, but all being there for the music and to enjoy and be free.
Totally. It's to actually look around at an audience watching the band or whatever is on the stage, but actually going back and looking at the audience and how happy they all are. It's one of the best things you ever see.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I get absorbed when I'm at gigs and festivals and stuff by everyone around me, and that whole experience, I'm just as into that as I am who I'm going to see.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because you just share in this moment, aren't you? You've got this shared bit of time and space, and yeah, like who you end up being around at a gig is totally fluke. But I've met, like, and I'm sure you have too, some incredible friends from those events.
Yeah. Sometimes you actually go and watch someone, you just go and sit in a bar and you meet people and you just want to spend time with them instead. Yeah, it's really, there's so much it gives you. I think it's given me a lot, really a lot.
So back then when you were at your first festivals, did you ever envisage DJing yourself?
Not at all.
No.
Not at all. It wasn't, just wasn't a thought really. My DJing things have kind of disappeared, in the late 60s, early 70s, I think. I was a kid playing around with things and I grew up and never gave it another thought. Like I said, but apart from I'd always making people mixtapes. Every holiday we went on, I was the one that had to do the tape for the car and things like that. But that just seemed normal.
Yeah, and you said back at the start it kind of wasn't the done thing at the time for a woman to be doing that. So things are obviously changing, which
massively, I think that's really, really positive. Yeah.
So, when it comes to Emma embarking on her professional DJ career, what tips would you give her at this early stage?
For me, I think the most important thing for me that helped me along was knowing my music really well that I was playing, which is why I really want to stick to one genre. And I think to know your beats, how long they take, or if that one's not working, what can you grab really quickly that's going to work better. So I think to know, I don't like taking risks with stuff that I would never play or don't know very well. So I think that's kind of important. I always said, if you're going to DJ, you need to know what you're DJing. And my other one, is keep it simple and don't get overcomplicated with technology. I think we feel we have to because it's there. But I've watched DJs and they don't. A lot of the really big ones don't do very much at all. They look like they are, but they just play in the stuff. And I think that's good and it's simple. There's no need to have tons of equipment and mess about and make mistakes and get neurotic and things. It's not worth it.
That's super, super helpful, because when I was getting ready this morning, I was like, I've always had this thing of going, I'm not good at technology. I'm a bit of a technophobe. And then it almost becomes a bit of a barrier of going, but I've got all this scary kit, but actually just start learning the basics and know how, don't need to get overwhelmed by what every single thing does at this stage. So that's really helpful advice, Janet, as is the keep it simple thing. Yeah, thank you for that. And knowing the music. And I feel fortunate having done drum and bounce for a bit, because I have to know the phrasing and be on the beat to be able to choreograph and teach to the rhythms and stuff. So that's like standing me in really good stead at the moment.
Yeah, that really helps. Again, so you know your music inside out, and I think that's really, really important.
Brilliant.
Amazing. All right, there's the takeaway.
Yeah, there is the takeaway. Janet, thank you so much for your time today. It's so great to hear your experiences and your journey, and like big ups for starting your DJ career later in life. That's fantastic to hear about.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been really nice to share my experiences.
Keep playing the tunes.
And you.
Keep spinning. So, since we spoke to Janet, what's been going on?
Well, lots has been happening, but I'm just reflecting on the end of the podcast. You know where I was talking about being a technophobe?
I do.
I don't think that's a particularly useful label to give myself.
No. How come?
Well, actually, it's more about it just takes time to learn new skills. So basically, I had a little controller. And now I've got a big one.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I've got an XDJ RX2 in my flat.
Nice.
And the way the buttons light up, I just adore it. But it's really enhanced my practice because I've got it all set up. I've got my little unit, and I've got my speakers. And so before I was sitting on the floor, hurting my back, and it's just ace. Come in, buttons on, lights flash, boom, I'm in the zone. So that's been really exciting. Yeah.
Nice.
And I've had some gigs.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I've done lots of open decks, and I've had a few gigs where I've been paid some actual money.
Nice.
I know. It's ace.
Emma Smallman, professional DJ.
Sister Smalls. Yeah, and I've got more coming up. So, yeah, it's really exciting. It's just like a whole new world has opened up.
Well, it's also good to know that some of the top tips we've been hearing have come in handy.
You know what? I think about them a lot. Some of the ones that I haven't done, I think about a lot.
Yeah.
But Nikki was saying about organising your tunes. I did spend an entire train journey to London and back from London, putting things into playlists and categorising them. And I was like, oh, Nikki would be so proud. Yeah, and just that thing of having fun with it. I know it definitely still provokes anxiety when I've got something coming up, but I do keep trying to just reframe that. In fact, a little mini story. So I've been having some DJ coaching.
Oh, yeah?
This wicked guy, Alex. And I was sharing one of the open decks experience in that as I was walking down to the pub that it was at in Moseley, I was like, it's 10 o'clock at night. What am I doing? It's in the week. I should be going to bed. This is normally when I go to bed. I like going to bed early. What am I doing this for? This is such a silly idea. Then did the open decks, absolutely loved it, and walked home going, oh my gosh, it's amazing. Oh, love it. I'm so glad I went.
Yeah.
I chatted to my DJ coach. I was like, what is going on? Why does that happen? And he was talking about your animal brain, and it wants to keep you comfortable and it wants to keep you safe.
Yep.
And so it talks you into go back to the flat where it's all nice and warm and comfortable. Why would you want to go to a cold pub and DJ?
It's much safer back there.
Exactly. But life is about getting out of your comfort zone, isn't it? And really stretching yourself. And then you have these elated feelings because you did something that you were scared of. So I'm learning a lot of life lessons again through DJing.
Yeah, DJ coach, life coach, more like.
I know.
Yeah.
Also, not everyone likes your tunes, do they, Dan?
They do not. Definitely not.
I was playing at this bar and a guy did say to me, because I didn't have Wham, that was what he asked for.
Oh, yeah.
And he said, you're not a proper
Club
DJ.
Tropicana.
Yeah, which I'd love that tune.
Big tune.
But I don't have it on my memory stick.
Oh.
And he was like, you're not a proper DJ if you don't have Wham. I'll come back next week. You better have Wham. I got threatened
My gosh.
with, by
Do you
Wham.
now have Wham on your memory
Actually,
stick?
I would really happily get Club Tropicana.
Yeah.
So I need to do that. I also got bullied into trying to play Usher. 3 times somebody came to ask. And
Yeah.
still I didn't have it on the 3rd time. It's funny, isn't it? Anyway.
You can't please everyone, though.
No. Which is another life lesson.
Yeah.
There's a lot to relearn in this DJing world.
It's definitely. Unfortunately, we'll be getting you more top tips in
Yes.
our next episode, of course. But before we do, we should probably drop Janet's socials.
Oh, yes, it's Janet Blond. So if you want to follow Janet on Instagram at JANETBLOND.
Okay. No E.
No E.
Okay, right.
On the end.
No E, everybody.
No. Over and out.
Thanks for listening.
Get us on the socials. Oh, Dan, have you remembered your Instagram handle?
No.
Luckily, I have. It's at DanKuda88. That's DANKUDA88.
Thanks, Em.
Catch you next time.
Thank you for listening to this Brum Radio podcast. Don't forget to subscribe and rate us on your podcast app.